Harvard admissions officer. And you're presented with 4 students. Okay? You're Harvard, the best university in the world. Okay? And I give you 4 students. And you can only let in 1 student, okay? You tell me who you let in, and I'll tell you if you're a good admissions officer or not, okay? Okay, the first is the best math genius from China, okay? Everyone's like, no. All right. Second is the best basketball player in the world, okay? Basketball player in America, okay? Okay. The third is the best student in the world. And the fourth is 3 generations of Harvard. Okay? So your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather went to Harvard. Who do you let in? You guys know the system. Exactly. Okay? You don't even think about it. Like, I let in number 4, okay? Because you know that in the world, he is the most likely to succeed. You're not interested in educating smart people. All you want to do is graduate rich people. Okay? So let's just say this guy doesn't exist. Then who do you let in? Exactly. Yep. This guy, okay? Definitely not this guy, okay? Definitely not the math genius from China, because you know that he's probably just going to end up as a math teacher. Right? Math professor. We don't want that. Okay? We don't want professors, we don't want lawyers, we don't want doctors. We want people who will be head of a company. We want people who will become a famous rock star. We want people who will become president of the United States. That's what we want, okay? And yeah, so either one of these 2 is fine. No, okay? But we want these guys to apply because that helps us look better, right? We want people to apply so we can reject them so that our metrics look better, okay? Okay? Does that make sense? Okay? That's how the system works. All right. So let me explain why they do this, okay? Why is the system set up like this? The best analogy for Harvard, Yale, and, sorry, go ahead.
Like, does all the admission officers in America college doing this intentionally? Okay, that's a really good question, okay? So if you're the Ivy League, you do this because everyone wants to go to the Ivy League. But if you're an average school, you're actually just trying to recruit students, okay? So this is like the school, this is the mentality of admissions officers for elite schools. But most schools are just like, they want you to come in and pay the tuition, okay? So why the Yale pick you?
Yeah, I'll explain later on, okay? Okay. All right, so Harvard is first and foremost a venture capital firm, okay? Okay, you're an investment firm. So let's pretend you're a venture capitalist, and I give you 2 options, okay? And you tell me which option you pick. Option 1 is, I want to open a restaurant. And I need $1 million from you. Okay? But guess what, guys? My uncle works for the government. So I can guarantee that he and his friends will come to my restaurant every single day. And so there's no risk. There's absolutely no risk involved. I guarantee we'll make at least $500,000 a year. No risk, easy money, okay? Number 2 is, I want to start a website that's AI and Bitcoin and all of this, okay? Problem is, I don't even know how to write code. I have no experience doing a website, and my idea isn't really fleshed out. But if it works, we can make $1 billion, guys, okay? So option 1 is low risk, really good plan, solid returns, $500,000 a year, okay? Option 2 is concept, vague idea. I have absolutely no experience doing any of this, but we could possibly make $1 billion, okay? Which option do you take? Okay, you always take this, guys, okay? Right? Because like, you don't need $500,000. That's boring. You want $1 billion. And that's the mentality of Harvard, you understand? They want to take a risk on you. They don't want students who are solid and who will become a professor. That's boring, okay? They want crazy people who will change the world because that makes Harvard look good. Okay, another way of saying this is they rather have a class where 10 people succeed and 999 fail rather than 1,000 people succeed slightly. Does that make sense? Okay? Why? Because we only remember the 10 people who succeed. We forget everyone else. Okay? That's the Harvard mentality. And that's why they're the most famous university in the world, because they're looking to create as much brand name recognition for themselves as possible. Okay? All right? Does that make sense? All right. Now, how do we know if they succeed or not, if you're Harvard? Well, remember the class that we learned last class, which is dissociative personality disorder. And what we discussed last class is, in a game, people who are most likely to succeed have this characteristic. Okay? And so, I'll explain why, using myself as an example, because I got into Yale. Okay? So, what we're going to do is this. We're going to examine my application to Yale. And then we're going to look at how the admissions officers would perceive application and how they would judge my potential. Okay? So, 3 things. The first is what my application actually says. Second is they will examine my background. And the third is they will then judge my potential. Okay? All right, so my application. All right, so I went to a public high school. It was good, but it's not a private high school. You get a better education on a private high school. Plus, it's in Canada, okay, which is like, everyone's kind of stupid in Canada, okay? So, and I was like top 10 of 200 kids. So it's good, but it's not number 1. It's not number 2. It's just top 10, okay? I was number 10. My SAT was 1,400 out of 1,600. And it's like decent, but you know, people are trying to get 1,550, 1,500 easily, okay? So, not that great. I was on a soccer team. I was not athletic. The soccer team just needed players, so I signed up, okay? I was also editor of the school newspaper. Okay? And I was captain of a quiz team called Reach for the Top. Okay? So that's a Canadian thing. But I was captain of it, I organized it, okay? So these 3 activities, they're fine, but it doesn't really demonstrate leadership potential, right? You're not like head of student government, or you're not head of Model United Nations, all right? On my essay, I wrote about Richard Feynman, who is a physicist. It was a really boring essay. It was, I mean, like anyone could have written it. I mean, like ChatGPT could have written it, okay? It was just a bad essay. My teachers, I mean, they liked me, but they really didn't like me because I seemed aggressive to them. You know, I wanted grades too much. So the word they use is ambitious. They thought I was ambitious. Ambitious is a dirty word in Canada. It means you don't play by the rules. It means you're too aggressive. It means you're too pushy, okay? All right, so this is my application to Yale. As you can see, it is a decent, but not a stellar application. So how did I get in? Well, because there was some information that they could also derive from application that made them interested in me, okay? The first is that I was poor. So I couldn't even afford the application fee. I had to apply for a waiver for my application, for my application, okay? So I was poor because I was an immigrant. So I was born in China in 1976, and my family went over when I was in 1983 when I was like 6, okay? So I was a poor immigrant in Canada. I transferred high school. So I was in a poor high school, then I went to a rich high school. Okay, so basically I switched neighborhoods. My family lived in a poor neighborhood, and then I applied to go to a rich high school in a different neighborhood. So I had to take the subway there every day, and I spent like half an hour on the subway. And guess what, guys? Canadians don't like that. Okay? Canadians want you to stay where you are, and that's it. So when I told my high school principal that I was going to transfer high schools, he got very upset. And he said that I'm going to write a discipline letter, okay, a discipline letter, and it's a very serious thing. And I'm going to put it in your folder so that when you apply to university, they will know that you were suspended from the school. And like that's basically like a really bad thing, okay? I got this discipline letter, and when I went to the rich high school, I had no friends. Why? Because they didn't like me. Because they don't like it when someone new comes in. Okay, I didn't know their culture. I'm sort of like ambitious, and I was grade grubbing. But the thing is, I was desperate because my family was very poor, and I wanted a better life. Okay. So again, they know all this. Okay, they know I'm an average student, and they know that I'm pushy and ambitious, and that's why Yale let me in. Because it's clear from this information that I had dissociative personality disorder. Okay, what does that mean? It means, first of all, I'm desperate. Okay? Desperate means like, if I don't get into Yale, I'll probably kill myself. I mean, if I didn't get into Yale, I would drown. I couldn't breathe. It was a life or death issue for me. They can see the desperation. They want that, okay? Second thing is, I was insecure, okay? If you're an insecure person, it means you're not happy with who you are. It means there's a void in your heart. And therefore, the way to fill the insecurity is through achievement, okay? So, if I made $1 million, I wouldn't be happy. I would need to go make $2 million. If I made $10 million, I would see people around me who had $100 million. And I would be like, I need to go make $1 billion, okay? So an insecure person sees the world as a competition. And you're always achieving, okay? And that's how you succeed, okay? And the third thing is, I was not a moral person, okay? I was ready to break the rules in order to succeed, transgressive, okay? So I was not supposed to leave my poor high school and go to a rich high school. That's breaking the rules in Canada. It's not illegal, but you're not supposed to do that. And I didn't care. The principal said I couldn't do that. I said to him, screw off. I'm still gonna do it. I went to the rich high school. Everyone said to me, you're not welcome. I said, I don't care. I'm gonna get my good grades, and I'm gonna get into the Ivy League. I don't need you guys, okay? So they saw the desperation, they saw the insecurity, they saw the hunger and the immorality. And this is all part of dissociative personality disorder. And that's why they let me in. Because it's possible I go crazy, okay? It's possible I become depressed, but it's also possible I change the world. Okay? Does that make sense? That's how they think. Because they're a venture capital firm. They're looking for the riskiest investment with the best possible return. They're looking for people who can become president of the United States, who can change the world, who can make a name for themselves. Because if they do that, that makes Yale look good. So you remember the name, okay? It's all about brand name recognition. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. Okay. So you're like, okay, well, this is fine, and what's wrong with the system, okay? Why would this be a bad thing? It works. Why would this be a bad thing? Well, the problem with this is because Yale, Harvard, and Princeton is so powerful, not only are they looking for people with trauma, okay? I was traumatized as a child, but they're also traumatizing the world. Okay, if that makes sense. All right? So the meritocracy exists to find people with trauma, and because it exists, it's traumatizing the world. Okay, so let me explain how and why. Any questions so far? Is this all clear?